Hello, my name is Donat and I live in Salmon Arm, BC. I've been doing horse archery for 15 years, and in this video I'm going to show you how to prepare a horse for horse archery. Horse riding is considered a dangerous activity. Now when we combine it with bow and arrow, it becomes of course even more prone to accidents. So we really want to make sure to keep the sport safe, and it starts with a safe horse. The two things I want to stress here is, number one is patience. You have to be really patient and take your time to desensitize the horse so it is safe when you ride on it and shoot on it. Because when we ride and shoot, we are hands-free, like we don't hold on to the reins. So it is really important that the horse is well desensitized. So patience. The second thing is observation. Like the horse can only express itself through body language. So it's really important to observe how the horse reacts to whatever we do, because whatever we do means something to the horse. So you don't want to push the horse when the horse becomes stressed or uncomfortable. When it becomes uncomfortable, back off and try again. Make the sessions short but frequent, like every day, maybe even twice a day, a short desensitizing session. Another thing it is important to keep in mind is whatever we teach the horse, we have to teach it first in a standstill, then in a walk, then in a trot, and eventually in a canter. All these things have to be taken step by step. If the horse is uncomfortable shooting while it is standing, there's no use trying to walk it. There's no use walking it and it's distressed trying to trot it. Okay? So let's start. This is Long John Silver. He's been doing horse archery as long as I did, and he's really well desensitized. So it is important in this video to keep that in mind, that he, of course, his body language isn't as clear as it would be on a young horse, or on a horse that has never done horse archery before. But still, make sure you observe his ears, his eyes, how he holds his body. And by the way, that's one of my favorite things when I watch a Western or so. I always love watching, these movie horses, how they react, and anyway, I think observation is really important. So the first thing I teach a horse is to ground tie. Well, not the first thing, but the first thing in this desensitizing process. To me, it's important that a horse knows when that rope and that halter is on him or her, and that rope is on the ground here, he doesn't go anywhere. Okay? And you teach a horse doing that, again, over time. You don't have to rush that, but you ground tie him, and then you walk away, and if he moves, you go back and put him exactly back into the same spot where he was before. That's really important. Okay, and he will learn really fast that if he moves, he has to back up, or bring his hind end over or whatever to be back into this spot. Okay, so we want to start teaching a horse to get used to the sound and the sight of arrows. Now, our body language is really important too. How we approach the horse when we do something like that. When we face a horse with our shoulders straight towards the horse, this means push to the horse. When we look the horse straight into the eye, while we do this, we push the horse away. So for instance, when we lunge or when we chase him around in a round pen, we have our shoulders square towards the horse, and we look into the horse's eye, or we look into the horse's butt to make it move. That's how sensitive horses are. They know exactly where our eye is. There you go. So when we approach a horse with our arrows, we want to make sure we approach him from the side with facing our shoulder and not our chest. The second thing is we want to approach the horse towards its shoulder. We don't want to approach his head, especially not the front of the head where the vision is limited, and we don't want to approach the back which again means a forward push. Okay, so it's important to introduce the horse to the sound of these arrows from a distance that's comfortable to the horse. So we want to make some noise, and we want to move these arrows up and down and watch the horse. If the horse is comfortable, we slowly move closer. Now, if the horse is uncomfortable, we stop and we back up. Do not push the horse when it is uncomfortable while doing this. It really everything has to become a positive experience. We don't want the horse, an archery horse, to have a negative experience with the bow and arrows. Having said all that, I highly recommend, before you start teaching a horse getting used to the bow and arrow, to teach it a whole bunch of other things. Like, for instance, I like chainsaw. You know, I like to run a chainsaw around a horse, or my dirt bike, or the tractor, or whatever. So when the horse is already desensitized to common things around the farm or your place, it becomes so much easier to introduce something like these arrows. Okay, again, so we want to approach the horse on the shoulder side with our shoulder towards the horse, where the horse can see us well. Okay, so once the horse gets comfortable to this, we slowly move closer, and then it's important to do it on both sides. We'll always do everything on both sides. And once the horse is comfortable with that, we can start touching it. Again, we start touching it on the shoulder side. On both sides. And always observe what the horse is doing. So the side, of course, he doesn't show, well, he puts his ears back a little bit, you know, he's alert. But the signs of a stressed horse would definitely be putting the head up, for instance, you know, maybe even showing some white in the eyes, trying to flee. So when you see these signs, back off immediately. Okay. So then you want to touch the horse everywhere with these arrows, everywhere, on the belly, down the legs. And eventually, once the horse is comfortable with all that, you want to get to the head. This is really important, because when we're shooting off the horse and we're stretching our arm out with the bow and the arrow, we're really close to the horse's head and ears. So it's really important eventually to desensitize that horse around his head, so he doesn't mind at all these arrows. And don't be afraid to make a lot of noise, because when we're riding and shooting, these arrows, they're making all kinds of weird noises. Next step would be the bow, introducing the bow to the horse with exactly the same as we did with the arrows. So we want to show the bow to the horse. Same thing, touch it with it. And then we want to make the string noise. And observe him or her, observe the eye, observe the ears, observe how he holds himself. And again, remember, when we're shooting, of the horse, that bow is really, really close to the horse's ears. So he really has to get used to all of this. And then, talking about ground tying, you want to be able to walk around the horse eventually. I got to move the camera around a little bit. You want to be able to walk around the horse, and the horse should just stand right here. And not mind at all what we're doing. Okay, the next step is to make the horse comfortable with the sound and the movement of the bow and arrow. Now these steps that we just did, that might take a week. It depends on a horse. It might take 2 weeks for a horse to become comfortable with these arrows. It really depends what experiences the horse has made so far. But in general, if you have a horse that you've used for trail riding, you've might have used it for several, you know, competitive activities. Usually a horse like that, it doesn't take very long at all to desensitize to the bow and arrow. I absolutely do not recommend to start training a horse with horse archery. You know, you want to make sure that horse has a lot of the basics already done. Okay, so we're going to move back a little bit. Come on, buddy, come on. Yeah. So I got a target here, a foam target, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shoot into that foam target right next to the horse. And it's not about my shooting technique. This is just about, and you see, I'm actually surprised. Did you see how he slightly lifted his head every time I shoot? See, it was subtle, but he slightly moved his head up. even a well-trained or desensitized horse like him. So I started doing this right beside his head because I knew he was fine with it, but I would probably in a horse that is new to horse archery, move a little bit closer to the shoulder side, like more like around here when I shoot. There. And in between, doesn't hurt all the time to touch him and make some noise. All right. So the next, once the horse is comfortable with this, we want to sit on the horse, and I'm going to throw a saddle on and take the next step. So the round pen, is definitely the best place to start training a horse for horse archery, because it's confined, and you know, if it runs away, it can't go far, and for your own safety as well. I do not recommend to start the horse out in the open at all, or start a new horse on a horse archery track. The round pen is perfect for that, and all it takes is one target in the center, and that target could be a hay bale, anything. So the idea here is to go step by step, slowly with patience, and observe the horse. So first I'm going to hop on, and then I'm just shooting in the standstill. When the horse is comfortable, I walk around and shoot, and then I trot, and then I canter. And that entire process, of course, can take several weeks, several days. It all depends on the stage the horse is in. Now, the ground is really frozen here. There's still some ice here. I might not be cantering for safety reasons, but you get the idea. So this video is all about horse. It's not about archery in this case, and the focus is on the horse. How does the horse react? How comfortable is the horse with what I'm doing? My focus is on my own body language. How am I sitting on the horse? Much more than how am I shooting right now. And this is a big challenge in horse archery because there's so much multitasking going on, right? So it's really important to break everything down and train and practice everything separately. So when we put everything together, which is cantering down a track and shooting at various types of targets, that these things that we practice and train separately, that they come together as a whole, because the way the mind works is that once we're cantering, like, forget it, there's no more thinking. So that's also why it's called it's an intuitive shooting type. But so yeah, again, take your time, be patient, observe the horse well, observe yourself well, how you're approaching the horse, how is your body language towards the horse, and safety first. Safety first, otherwise the sport is not going to be any fun. Alrighty, thank you.